Any volunteer to light a candle? Anyone else? Just hold this first. Hold. We have one more candle. Okay, please sit down. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Let's do the chanting before the meditation. You can turn to page 5 of our chanting book. Salutation to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The three refuges. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Tatiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Next page. There are 5 precepts. පානාතිපාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි අදින්නාදානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි සුරාමේරය මච්ඡ පමාදත්තානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. On the opposite page, let's read the affirmative vows. Being aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life, I vow to cultivate compassion and learn ways to protect the lives of all living beings. Being aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, stealing, and oppression, I vow to respect the property of others and to practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. Being aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I vow to respect my commitments and those of others. I am determined not to engage in relationships without love and long-term commitment. Being aware that words can create suffering, I vow to learn to speak truthfully and develop peaceful, kind, and meaningful speech. Being aware of the suffering that an intoxicated and agitated mind can produce, I vow to develop mindfulness and mindfulness. Homage to the Buddha. Iti piso bhagava araham samma sambuddho vipujacarena sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati Santa Deva Manussanam Buddho Bhagavati. Homage to the Dhamma. Swankhato Bhagavata Dhammo Sandiptiko Akaliko Ehi Vatsiko Openaiko Panchantang Veditambo Vinyuhiti. Homage to the Sangha. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samiji Patipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yatidam Chattari Purisa Yugani Anta Purisa Pungala Isa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahuniyo Pahuniyo Dakkiniyo anjali karaniyo Anutterang punyak ketang lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next page. Offering. Offering of life. Ganesarap pediktene dipene tamadansina tiloka dipang sambuddhang pujayami tamunudam. Offering of incense. Gandha sambhara yuttene dhupena sugandhina pujaye pujaniyam tam puja bhajana muttamam. Offering of flowers. Vannagandha gunopetang etang kusuma santatim pujayami munindassa siripada saroruhe pujemi buddhang kusumena nena punyena metena labami mokkang pumpang vilayati yata idammi kayo tatayati vinasa bhavam. Offering of water. Adivase tuno bante paniyam parikappitam anukampang upadaya patiganhatu uttame. Offering of drinks. Adivase tuno bante ilane panchayang imam anukampang upadaya patiganhatu uttame. Worship of shrines. Vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbetani supatintitang saririka dhatu mahabodhin buddha rupang sakalang sada. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next page. Wish of well-being. Iccheva namaste manu nate nande punyabhi sandam Vipulam alantam tansanu bhave hatante rayo. Reflections on the teachings of the Buddha in English. Mind is the forerunner of all experiences. Mind is chief. Mind may guide. If one speaks or acts with an impure mind, suffering follows like the wind that follows the foot of the ox. Mind is the forerunner of all experiences. Mind is chief. Mind may guide. If one speaks or acts with a pure mind, happiness follows like one thin shadow that never leaves. Generosity, kind words, benevolent actions towards others, and equanimity towards all beings and all things. These qualities of prosperity function in the world like a division in a moving car. One by one, little by little, moment by moment, wise people should remove their impurities as the smith removes the dross from silver. For one who mindfully develops boundless loving kindness, mental refinements are weakened, and the freedom from clinging is seen. All conditioned things are impermanent. When one ceases with them, one turns away from suffering. This is the path to purification. All conditioned things are unsatisfactory. When one ceases with them, one turns away from suffering. This is the path to purification. All things are not self. When one ceases with them, one turns away from suffering. This is the path to purification. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Okay, welcome everyone for our meditation session. So we are all going to do a group practice, practicing loving kindness meditation, followed by breathing meditation. So this is a very precious moment in our life because we have dedicated our time to look into our own mind and then gradually guide, navigate, channel our mind to go into a wholesome place and also to develop awareness in our mind. So these qualities are so helpful to live our life in the most compassionate way. So, but it is very rare that we get an opportunity to develop these qualities. We all want to be kind. We all want to be wise, intelligent, but we don't have enough resources to train our mind to be kind and wise. So, right now we are going to do that practice, giving ourselves this time and opportunity. So, rejoice this moment. Rejoice your effort to come here today. You could have been in many other places at this time. So rejoice your decision and rejoice this opportunity. At the same time, make a determination that I will use this time, I will use this space, I will use this guidance, and I will engage in a committed practice. Make that determination now. With that determination, we will now listen to the sound of the bell to further settle our mind into this moment. And then we will do our chant, Namo Buddhaya, to further help ourselves to settle into this moment. Throughout the bell and the chant, keep bringing your attention to this moment and feel your body. Feel your sitting posture, where our body is touching, whatever sensations available in the body. Just keep bringing your attention to this moment, to your body, throughout the bell and the chant. Continue to feel your body. Feel how your hands are touching each other. Wherever your hands are placed, feel that touch sensation. Feel your upper body. Notice the areas you have more sensations with your clothes. Let us try to be in our body. Feeling the subtle sensations and anchoring our mind in those sensations and let it be here. With this awareness of the body, perhaps we can allow this body to relax further. Allow all the muscles in the body to loosen up. We can further relax our facial muscles. Feel your eyebrows and try to spread your eyebrows a little bit further and drop them down a little bit and relax the whole forehead and eyebrows area. No wrinkles in between the eyebrows. And drop your jaw inside the mouth, allowing all the muscles in the face to relax, just dropping the jaw inside the mouth. If you wish, you can invite a gentle smile to this face, and experience all the relaxed muscles throughout the face with that gentle smile. We can further relax our shoulders. We can lengthen our in-breath a little bit. Just take a little longer in-breath. And when we breathe out, we allow our shoulders to drop. We can also allow our chest to drop down a little bit further. When we breathe out, we allow these muscles to open up, to loosen up. We can also allow our belly to relax, no holding in the belly. When you're breathing out, we allow our belly to drop to the front. Simply relaxing our palms, our fingers, our hands. No grip there. Just let the fingers and the palms to just lie as relaxed as they can. With each out breath, relaxing, releasing, loosening. With this relaxed body, let us now bring our whole attention to our mind. Let us simply watch what are the thoughts or memories coming to our mind right now. Just take a moment to observe, notice all these thoughts occurring right now. We will allow any thought to arise, but without selecting anyone, we simply observe them as they arise, notice, and wait for the next one to arise. Various random thoughts simply keep popping up and occurring in our mind. We can notice how the ordinary mind works. Simply randomly bringing a memory or thoughts, just popping up one after the other. This is the ordinary mind. Let us now try to purposely generate a wholesome state in the mind. Instead of these random thoughts, we will not wait any random thought to occur, but we will be proactive and will purposely generate wholesome thoughts to arise. Let us generate one of the most wholesome mental states. This is a good time to guide our mind to go into a wholesome place. We will now generate the wholesome quality of loving kindness. Loving kindness is an inner capacity that we all have. It is the willingness for everyone to be well. It is the goodwill towards all beings. It is the friendliness, the universal friendliness, genuine wish of well-being. Let us generate this wholesome state right now. We all have this capacity in the deep in our mind. We will now allow this loving kindness to come to the surface of our mind. Let us open our heart, generating the willingness for everyone to be well. Am I willing if all are safe? Am I willing if all are happy? Let us open our heart just like when we see a smiling face of a little baby smiling, and how we feel when we encounter smiling face of a little baby, or when we are petting a puppy, a little puppy, or kitten, or any other pet, let us open our heart just like that. Generate that readiness to care, that willingness to care. Let us maintain this wholesome state of the mind, this loving kindness has a sense of acceptance, forgiveness, compassion. We will now cultivate this loving kindness. We will make it stronger and stronger. We can do it by making more and more loving kindness wishes. We will keep wishing well-being to everyone, including ourselves. We will expand this wish of well-being to all people, all beings. But we will start with this being sitting here, ourselves. Let us take this moment to genuinely look into ourselves and genuinely wish well-being. Feel your presence here and look at yourself as one of the living beings. And this living being sitting here will genuinely make a good wish. May this person sitting here be well, be strong, be healthy, be peaceful. Let us be generous to ourselves. Let us be kind to ourselves. And we'll make all the good wishes we can make to ourselves, to this being. Be well. Be safe. Be strong. Be healthy. Be peaceful. If you have a special concern for any particular challenge or problem that you are going through in your life, and make a specific wish. What will help you? What quality, what strength will help you to overcome that challenge, that issue? Make a specific wish to yourself. Be well. Be safe. Be strong. Be peaceful. Let us now take a moment to extend this loving kindness to this body, directing this whole loving kindness, that genuine wish of well-being, that attitude of acceptance to this whole body. This body has been helping us to live our life for many, many years. All the organs in this body, all the systems of this body, all these parts of this body have helped us a lot. Even right now, many organs are helping us to live this precious life. With deep appreciation and gratitude, let us extend this loving kindness wish to this body. Feel your lungs when you breathe. Feel the cooling air filling up the lungs. Let us direct this loving kindness to these lungs. Genuinely wish, may these lungs and whole respiratory system be well, be healthy, be healed. May this heart, cardiac muscles, the whole cardiovascular system, even helping us right now, the whole cardiovascular system be well, be healthy, be healed. May this digestive system, all the organs in this whole digesting system, the stomach, liver, pancreas, intestine, colon, the whole digesting system, the whole gut, be well, be healthy, be healed. May these kidneys which help us to release the toxins from the body, may these both kidneys and whole genitourinary system be well, be healthy, be healed. May this nervous system, the spinal cord, and all the nerves traveling through the spinal cord, the brain stem, the middle brain, and the frontal lobe, May this whole nervous system be well, be healthy, be healed. May this whole body, we will allow this loving kindness to travel throughout the body. Let this intention of loving kindness travel throughout the body, healing each part of the body. May all these muscles, all the ligaments, tendons, and tissues throughout the body be well, be healthy, be healed. May all these bones, large bones, tiny bones, and all these joints throughout the body be well, be healthy, be healed. We have now allowed this loving kindness to envelop the whole body, allowing the loving kindness to manifest throughout the body. Let us now expand this wish beyond ourselves, wishing the same well-being to all other people. Let us genuinely wish, may all people sitting with us in this room right now, let us genuinely wish one another. May all these people sitting here and meditating, including these monks, may they all be well, be safe, be healthy, be peaceful. Let us expand this wish beyond this room to this neighborhood, and to all people living in this whole surrounding area. May every one of them, no matter who they are, may all people living in this whole surrounding area be well, be safe, be healthy, be peaceful. Let us expand this wish beyond this surrounding area to all faraway places. Let us take a moment to think about people living in all faraway cities, regions, countries. May all people living in this whole region, living in this whole country, be well, be safe, Be healthy. Be peaceful. Let us expand this wish further and further, wider and wider. May all people living beyond this country, in this whole continent, and even beyond the continent in all other places, may all people living everywhere, people who are suffering due to conflicts, people who are suffering due to crisis, people who are suffering due to illnesses, and all these people living throughout the world, be well, be well, be well, be peaceful. Let us expand this wish beyond human beings to all other living beings. There are many other life forms. Let us take a moment to think about all living beings and genuinely wish them well-being. May all animals, from large ones to tiny ones, may all these animals and any other life forms there may be, may they all be well, be well, be well, be peaceful. May each and every living organism, without exception, be well, be well, be well, be peaceful, peaceful, peaceful. Rejoice this wholesome state of the mind, the loving kindness that is pervaded into every direction, embracing all beings. Rejoice this limitless love. Rejoice this unbound loving kindness. Rejoice this wholesome state of the mind that is ready to care for any living being. Keeping this loving kindness, joy, spaciousness in the back of the mind. Let us now gently bring our whole attention to our breath. With these rejoice. Let us now gently bring our whole attention to our breath. In this peaceful, calm moment, we can feel the gentle flow of our breath. Let us closely observe the movement of the air through the nostrils and, and how this air is moving behind our throat and fills our lungs. Try to feel what are the changes happening in the body with that in-breath. When you are breathing out, gently bring the same attention, observing all the path of the breath. Let us gently keep paying attention to this natural sensation. If you don't feel your breath clearly, maybe perhaps you can take few long breaths just to feel it. Notice the changes happening in the body. Notice the areas where you can feel the touch sensation most prominently. Just take few long breaths and feel it clearly. And then simply let it happen naturally. And we will notice, we will witness the whole experience of the breath. Keep bringing your attention to your breath. No matter how many other memories, how many other thoughts arise in your mind, notice them, acknowledge them, and come back to the breath. Be with the breath. Let us rest with the breath. This breath is truly happening. In these last few minutes, let us give our full effort to simply to be with our breath. With determination, we will be with our breath, rest with our breath. Dukkha patace nidukkha bhayapattace Nibbhaya Sukampattache Nisukha Hontu Sabbipi Paninu. Gently come out of your meditation and gently put your palms together and place them against your chest. Let us take a moment to feel grateful for this opportunity to have meditation in our life. Let us feel grateful to all great teachers, enlightened masters in the past, who passed this wisdom from generation to generation. Let us feel grateful to anyone who helped our meditation tonight. And even to these non-living things which helped our meditation, including this chair, this cushion, this bell, and this device that help us to connect to this meditation from home. With deep gratitude to all people and all things that made this meditation possible for us today. Let us say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. We all had the meditation together. It is so interesting that, we have quite a number of people sitting next to each other, but we all made a kind of inner journey within ourselves, right? And it's going inside and then, gradually, helping ourselves to navigate our own thoughts, our energy of the mind. But we help each other, right? Don't you think so? We help each other by being there and doing nothing, right? Doing nothing but not, disturbing. Yeah. But actually, of course, in loving kindness meditation, we even wish one another, right? But it's interesting way of helping others, right? And sometimes we can help others by not doing anything. Yes. Any sharing or any questions about the practice? Anything you'd like to share? What did you experience? Challenges?
We can help each other by being instead of doing.
Yes. Simply being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So any sharing of of the meditation, any challenges you encounter?
Auntie, is it all right to have like blank spots? Like you're meditating on the breath and there are thoughts coming and you're letting them come, letting them go, and every now and then it's very quiet.
Yeah.
And in my meditation, that was a little like I didn't know if that should happen or not.
That is happening naturally because we are not entertaining the thoughts. We simply keep watching them, and then of course we have a place, we have an object to pay attention to, that is our breath or maybe loving kindness. So as a result, mind will still, due to its old habit, will pop up different thoughts, but we simply observe and watch them. And then of course there will be spaces, and the whole practice is actually to enhance those spaces, and those spots will be larger, longer.
Thank you, Bhante.
Welcome. Any other thoughts or questions? It is. Yeah, I think letting people to, guiding people to have a deep meditation is the best way, Bhante, not to have any questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, because their rational mind, their rational mind is kind of, subdued, they are more experiential, and it's more stronger, so you don't have any, rational mind to ask any questions. Yeah. Okay, so let's move to the other part of the program, and it is our discussion time. So, for our discussion, we select different similes used by the Buddha. Buddha has given so many discourses, so many sermons during his teaching career, and he has used a lot of similes. So we have been discussing a lot of similes, right, Bhante? We started this last year.
Yeah.
Last year. And this week is very important because this is the week that Buddha, could enlighten. And the full moon day of month of May, which was last Sunday, was the day that Buddha attained his enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. And of course, in Theravada tradition, we also celebrate the birth and also passing away of the Buddha also on the same day. So it's important time. So today I selected a well-known simile actually. Let's see how many people are aware of this simile, because usually this simile is found in some of the Buddhist books. But I thought that maybe still it is important to revisit the simile, and particularly read the simile as it appears in the actual text, Buddhist text. Who is familiar with the simile of poison arrow? Poison arrow, right? Yeah. Would you mind just sharing briefly?
The poison arrow is where there's a man walking and he's struck with an arrow of poison, and instead of, or I guess I guess the question is, instead of saying who threw this arrow at me, what is it made out of?
Yeah.
What direction did it come from? Instead, your focus should be on removing it and removing the poison arrow.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So exactly, that is a simile. But let me tell you the background of that simile. When Buddha did teach this simile, there was a monk called Malunkyā Putta. Do you see any meaning of Malunkyā, Bhante?
Putta means son, maybe
Son, yeah.
Malunkyā's son.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There was a monk called Malunkyā Putta. He's maybe son of the merchant Malunkyā, right? Yeah. And so he became a monk, but he was quite intelligent person and quite inquisitive, and he's always would like to engage with discussions and and discuss really deep matters. So and then and when he was discussing those matters, uh, Buddha uh, had a policy not to answer a certain key speculative or metaphysical questions that was well known at the time of the Buddha. There were set of metaphysical questions that people used to ask from different spiritual teachers. Um, so, these are those questions like whether the world is eternal or not eternal, whether the world is finite or not finite, whether the body and the soul is the same or whether the body and the soul is different, or whether a liberated person exists after death or does not exist after death. So, I mean, these are the few examples of those questions. So, those were metaphysical questions. So, then he was quite upset about that because he thought these questions has to be discussed and has to be answered. And Buddha purposely has selected to not to directly answer those questions because it was a custom that people will go to different teachers. Okay, please give me your take on these questions, and you go to different teacher. Okay, give me your take on these questions, because 6th century BCE in northern India, it's an interesting time, and because people started to question the Vedic and Brahmanic worldview and civilizations, and then there were so many other alternative thoughts and philosophies was arising, and it was such a rich philosophical and spiritual discussion were happening and seeking. So they had these very open discussions also. So when people came with those set of questions to the Buddha, when they asked about this, Buddha kept silent. And Buddha said that I have decided, what Buddha said, that these things, these are the undeclared, the kept aside, right, Bante? Tapaniya. Those are the questions that I have decided to keep aside. Kept aside. Tapaniya. Kept aside. So this monk was quite, frustrated with that, because, these, if you want to talk with other spiritual seekers, people like, we need to have answers to these questions in order to, have an engaged discussion with them. Okay, as this is what this is my teacher's opinion about this. The world is not eternal. Or maybe the world is eternal. Whether the world is created or whether the world is not created. All kind of metaphysical questions.
Why Buddha did not answer for this
Yes.
question? Maybe a curiosity for
the monks, right?
For the monks. And what is the answer?
Yeah, the answer is at the end.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So one day he decided to make a protest, and he declared that if the Buddha does not answer directly those questions, I'm going to give up my monastic life. I'm going to give up my spiritual practice. I'm going to disrobe. And he made that announcement, protesting. Now the Buddha has to give the answers to this. So he declared that, and then the other monks informed the Buddha. This Malokiputta monk is protesting. He's going to leave the monkhood. He's going to give up the practice if he does not answer. If you do not answer these questions. And of course, then Buddha summoned him, and asked him, "Is it true that you have declared that you are going to leave the monkhood?" And he said, "Yes. I really need to know the answer to these questions." And the Buddha said that, have I ever promised you that if you become monk, I will answer these questions. And so that, and then of course that didn't happen, and then he said, oh no, you didn't promise me. I just was impressed, I was interested in your teaching, and I decided to practice. And Buddha said, okay, I haven't promised you to answer these questions. uh, but then Buddha said, okay, let me explain. Anyone uh, who will not lead a spiritual life under me, saying that I will not answer these questions, is like the person who is shot by an poison arrow.
Bhante, vice versa, Buddha asked that monk, I did not promise. And did you ask me when you are coming to the monk?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Not only that. Yeah. Both. Or did you
Ask me.
ask me whether I will answer these questions if he becomes a
Yeah.
monk?
Monk.
Yeah. So there was no such agreement.
Agreement. Yeah.
Yes. So it's, because this monk is like acting as if there's an agreement was broken. He's protesting. And Buddha said, okay, let me suppose Maloki Buddha, a man were to wounded by an arrow thickly smeared with poison, and his friends, companions, his kinsmen, his relatives brought a surgeon to treat him. The man would say, I will not let the surgeon to pull out this arrow until I know whether the man who wounded me was a noble or a Brahmin or a merchant or a worker. These were the social classes of that time. I will not let the surgeon pull out this, arrow until I know, which person from which social class has, shot me this arrow. Of course, we want to know who shot me, right? Yeah, it's more interesting in knowing who shot me than the pain. This is we also want to know the person and do the justice before we heal anything. And then and also until I know whether the man who wounded me was a tall or short or middle height. Until I know whether the man who wounded me was dark or brown or golden skin. Or until I know whether the man who wounded me lives in such a village or town or city. Or he also want to know the address in the city. Maybe he was zip code, because he want to go and find him later. Until I know whether the bow that wounded me was a long bow or a cross bow. Maybe different types of bows, maybe it's a long one or a cross one. Until I know whether the bow string that wounded me was a fiber or reed or sinew, right? Sinew or hemp or bark. So I think there are a lot of information about how they made,
The bow
strings those days, right? Yeah. Until I know whether it's fiber or reed or sinew or hemp or bark. And until I know whether the shaft that wounded me was wild or cultivated. Maybe the wild, maybe the natural arrow, maybe the cultivated, maybe the really made arrow, like you can sharpen. Until I know what kind of feathers the shaft that wounded me was fitted. Whether it's those of a vulture or a heron, or a hawk, or a peacock, or a stork. Interesting, right? Those days and how they use all these different feathers. One can do a really interesting study about these arts and the society. Until I know whether what kind of sinew the shaft that wounded me was bound. Whether that of an ox or a buffalo or a deer or a monkey. And because the skin of these animals are taken to use as rope, to tie. Until I know what kind of arrowhead it was that wounded me, whether spiked or razor-tipped or curved or barbed or calf-toothed or lancet-shaped. All these details. And Buddha said, all this would still not be known to that man, and meanwhile he would die. Because when someone is finding out all this information, it would take time. and this person will die. So too, Malika, if anyone should say that I will not lead the spiritual life under the Buddha until I get the answer to those, metaphysical questions, uh, and that person will not be able to, uh, and the Buddha will not answer this question, and that person would die. And
Same way, Bhante. There are also 10 questions regarding the bow and the person who showed. There are also 10
10
questions.
questions, and this set of questions also 10,
Yeah,
right?
10.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting, Bhante. Thank you for. So he's also asking 10 questions about the arrow, and there are also a set of 10 questions about the metaphysical nature of the world. And then Buddha said that whether the world is eternal or not eternal, whether it's eternal or not, there's still suffering arises in human mind. Whether the world is eternal or not, the suffering arises. There'll be aging, there'll be death, there'll be lamentation, there'll be grief, despair, stress. All these things will occur. So what I teach you is actually the origin of suffering and the cessation of suffering. The nature of suffering, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the way leading to the cessation of suffering. And that is what I teach you. Because whether the world is eternal or not, our experience will not be that different. Because what we experience is happening right now. So my main goal, my main purpose is to teach people to understand the suffering, dukkha actually, mainly like unsatisfactoriness in our human mind, and understand it and understand how such a state arises in human mind, and what will be the solution to that, and how we achieve that solution. So just like the real issue in with that person with an arrow, with who is hit by a poison arrow, is actually the pain and the danger that he is under, right? So that's the real issue. So we need to first take care of that, before we find out all the other details. So Buddha is saying that actually the real concern in our life should be our actual experience, and real, our the quality of our experience, and these, suffering that we are going through, and not necessarily the all the other metaphysical, questions that people are so interested in knowing. Of course, that doesn't mean that Buddha have not touched those topics. He has talked about them. About those things. There's different in separate time, but his main focus is on focusing on the experience. So I think this is interesting. Similar and interesting teaching, because we have this tendency in our human mind to talk about quite lofty things, right? Very sophisticated things, and sometimes in our thinking mind, we are quite advanced, quite sophisticated, we, quite, refined. But when it comes to our actual life, actual life, the way we live our life, could be really, unskillful. You know, so I read that book by Matthew Ricard, and who was a French. He was a microbiologist, and who renounced his life and became a monk. And his father was a well-known philosopher. His mother was a well-known artist in Paris. And in his book, he said that he explained why he wanted to give up his career as a microbiologist. I became a monk, and he said that since I was a small child, I got to meet so many well-known, influential people in my life, because they will all come in the evening to have discussion with my, father, with my, we appreciate my mother's artwork. So I met, great mathematicians, and great, um, people who really, great, great minds, and And so they were like great scientists, great biologists, great mathematicians. So I was so impressed by, with their knowledge. But when I observe, how they get into arguments, how they scold each other, how they get, depressed, how they, get emotionally agitated easily. I was so impressed by their knowledge, but I was not impressed at all the way they live their lives. So I would like to know like them, but I don't want to be like them. I don't want to live like them, because that life was not that pleasant and nice. Because no matter how knowledgeable, how smart, how great how they are in their own respective fields of knowledge, when it comes to actual living, the way they relate to each other, where they handle issues, the way they handle the stressful situation, they are horrible. They're not that skillful. So therefore, I don't want to live like them. I don't want to be like them. So that is one reason that he decided to become a monk. So I think in similarly, we can be really, really sophisticated, really advanced in our thinking in terms of our knowledge. But when it comes to real, the way they we live, we can be real unskillful, maybe unequipped uh, to handle those things. So I think so. The Buddha's priority is to let's start with our experience. Before we talk about whether the world is created or not, or eternal or not, or limited or infinite, whether we before we talk about all these metaphysical serious issues, let's start with our experience. How do we experience the world? Because we cannot go beyond our experience, right? And let's talk about how we experience the world, and how our mind shapes our experience, and how our sensory organs shapes our experience of the world. Who knows? I mean, of course, the world that we talk about is actually partly created by our own sensory faculties and the mind. If we have a different set of sense organs, we will have a different world, right? Of course, I mean, if you're colorblind, if your eyes have different ability to see colors, it will be different. I mean, of course, we know that butterflies and some birds, can see ultraviolet. What would be the world for them?
Flowers.
So
Bees too, they see ultraviolet wavelengths reflected from flowers, so they know where to go.
yeah, so world for them will be like completely different than the world we experience, right? So if anyone develop in the sensory faculty to see all these, the all these signals, that we receive to our cell phones,
Yeah.
what would be the world?
Actually, I think we're getting, yeah, I think we're getting them whether we want them or not. We're sensitive on some level.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just saying,
No,
if you
I
envision, yeah. But anyway. So anyway, the bottom line is Buddha was very practical, and he was, I mean, and he even said, right, Bhante, he said that in my whole career I have taught only two things. Now, of course, he has taught so many things, but mainly is that I have taught only two things: how suffering arises, how it can be ended.
Mhm.
I mean, even he cut them. Of course, Four Noble Truths is the key teachings of the Buddha, right? The nature of suffering, origin of suffering, and cessation of suffering, and path leading to cessation of suffering is four. But he further, break down into two. Yeah. And I think if we start with our own experience, and then if we, analyze, how our unsatisfactoriness, how this, this state that is kind of underlying in many of our experiences, even in the pleasant experience, there's a there's a tint of unsatisfactoriness lying underneath. And if we truly, analyze it and understand it, um, and that will reveal actually the all other truths also, and that's really matters to us, right? So at the end, actually, the monk Malonke Buddha decided, I mean, I think he decided to remove the poison arrow. Yeah.
Just it came to my mind, Bante, a German poet, Bertolt Brecht.
Better place, yeah.
His poem, I don't know exactly the lyrics, but maybe he used the simile of the Buddha. Maybe it's the same like this.
Mm.
Some people are in a house, in a burning,
Burning,
it's under fire. So they are inside. So but it's still burning. Some people are outside. They are
Calling them to come
calling
out.
them to come out. It's burning. So then, being inside, they're asking the people, "Oh, it's okay in outside. It's good," or something like that. Like, so many questions. Still, yeah.
So they are in the house. So these people are calling them to come out, but they ask, okay, what is the weather outside?
No,
What's the
it's
temperature outside?
Yeah.
Whether it-
Don't need a clothes.
Yeah.
I think so as human beings we have this curiosity which actually has help us, guided us to discover so many things. But we also need to understand the limit of it, and understand it's what is the opposite of benefit? Yeah, it's disadvantage. I mean, yeah, maybe disadvantage, and also limits of it. Because curiosity and is important, but sometimes we need to understand the limit of it, and pay attention what's really really important, really matters. Otherwise, that will always bring us to mm, like only the intellectual, more rational kind of thinking, but not taking seriously about how we really our real experience in our life.
The practicality.
Yeah. Actually, there's, I mean, of course, Bante, I think I didn't answer your question because at the end,
Yeah.
and Buddha explained why he did not, why did he, set those questions aside? Why have I left those questions undeclared or unanswered? Because it is unbeneficial. It does not belong to the fundamentals of a spiritual life. It does not lead to the dispassion or cessation of suffering. It does not lead to peace and direct knowledge or enlightenment or nirvana or nibbana. That is why I left it undeclared or unanswered. And what I have declared is this is suffering, this is the origin of suffering, this is the cessation of suffering, this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. And these questions are also kind of come from very basic misunderstanding also, when people ask whether the world is eternal or not, or whether whether soul and the body is the same or not. And all these questions has very basic misunderstanding, and there are assumptions underneath these questions. Like when you ask the world is eternal or not, and then you already kind of assumption that there's a world outside there, as I perceive it. And when you ask about whether I will anything about body and soul, and we have assumption that there's a permanent being here. So I think Buddha would say that before we ask this question, maybe we will question those assumptions. Are they true? The assumptions behind the questions. So we start with the experience.
Then the question itself it's not practical. The question, it's not
Yeah.
real question.
So I think once you start analyzing our own experience and truly understand how this experience occurring, how this suffering arises, I think all other questions become I think they become null. Because the people understand the wrong assumptions underneath those questions, so they don't want to ask these questions.
So, what is the origin of suffering?
Okay. Yeah, how many minutes do we have? 2 minutes. Yeah, that will be the $1 million question, right? Yeah. Of course, there are so many, but mainly, we call it thirst or tanha or craving. It's more like a self-centered craving, which is also based on basic ignorance. So it's not knowing the actual reality of our life, and then based on that, and we develop craving. So self-centered craving. So any experience of suffering has that element. Doesn't mean that it's only that cause, but that element that we want otherwise. We are facing a situation and we want it otherwise. So that means we have a craving for things to be different, which is okay, but that's the the real reason. But of course, that doesn't mean that there are real painful situation, like there are real difficult, challenging situation. So it's not. So I think the Buddha would also say that this idea that the suffering is completely self-created is one extreme, and believe that suffering is always created by someone else or some outside force is another extreme. So the reality is actually somewhere in the middle, that there can be outside conditions that create a situation for our suffering, but it's always there's an elements or ingredients that we put into that whole thing that will make it a real suffering. So there can be really unfavorable situation, there can be injustice in the social structure, there can be really difficult or violent people to be with, there could be really physical condition that is not really pleasant or painful. So all this can exist, but how much we are going to suffer based on how we relate to it, how we take it, so how much craving, how much self-centered craving that we add into that.
And also, like, how personal we take it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the element of having craving. Yeah, self-centered craving. So because suffering, let's say, we use the word term suffering, but because this unsatisfactoriness is a causal product. It's not given. It's not something like it's not a must, but it happens when we add those causes and conditions, and because of that, and we can change it. And this whole spiritual practices are to change that. Okay. So let us remember the poison arrow. Whenever your mind is, you find yourself, your mind is, having all these sophisticated, questions, and just remind yourself the poison arrow, and just try to always come back to the, the actual experience and practicality of it, real situation. So with that, let us move to the other part of the program. Let us now share the goodness that we generated here with all others by coming to this practice today and doing this practice together and engaging in this meditation and discussion. We have generated so much goodness in our heart. We were able to maintain a wholesome state of the mind throughout this session. So therefore, we have generated a lot of good energies, good karma, and we can share this good karma with all others. First of all, let us record our mind, our departed relatives, people who were with us, who gave us their care and love to us, who are no more with us today. Let us be grateful towards them and share these merits with all of them. May they share these merits, may they be well and happy wherever they may be. Idang mi ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idang mi ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idang mi ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Let us also share these merits with all other living beings. If there's any living being who would like to share this merit, may he or she do so. May all living beings share our merits. May all living beings be well, happy, and peaceful. Ittavata ca amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Wish for the well-being of the world in English. May the weather be pleasing. May the people prosper in their lives. May there be peace and happiness in the world. May the rulers be righteous. May all those who are suffering be free from suffering. May all those who are in fear be free from fear. May all those who are in grief be free from grief. May all beings be well and happy. Aspiration. May this wholesome act quicken the liberation of my mind from mental defilements. By virtue of this wholesome act, may I never follow the unwise people. May I associate with good people until I attain Nibbana. Purification. If by body, speech, or mind I have carelessly done wrong, I acknowledge them all in front of the Tathagata of great wisdom and determine to be heedful. Now it is the blessings chant now. We are going to chant the Loving Kindness Sutra, and this particular sutra discourse was given by the Buddha with great compassion for all living beings. So we are going to chant the same discourse right now for the benefit of you, wishing you good health, peace, and strength and courage to overcome difficulties and challenges in your life. And may you receive these blessings and develop that strength and courage and that peace and good health. You can also recall to your mind whoever you want to share these blessings with, your family members, your friends, people who are sick, and recall them to your mind and share these blessings with them too. May all of you receive these blessings. May all of you be well, happy, and peaceful. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Karaniya matta kusalena yantang santang padang abhisamicca sakko joja sojoja suacho jasansa mudu anatimani santos sakoja subaroja ampaginjoja sallahukavunti Sandrindriyocha nipakocha ampagambo kulesu ananugindo nacha kundang samachari kinchena vinyo pare upavadeyam sukino vakemino vantu sabbe santa bhavantu sukitanta kecipan bhutanti tasavatavrava anavasesadighavaye mahantava majjimaraskanukatula dittavaye dittaye dure vasanti avidure bhutava sambhave siva sabbe santa bhavantu sukhitantana paro parang nikumbet nati manyet kanta chinang kanche vyarosana patighasang Nanya sadukkamicchaya mata yata niyang puntang ayusa eka punta manurakke evampi sambha bhutesu man sambhavaye aparimanang mittang ca sambha lokasming man sambhavaye aparimanang uddhang adoca tiriyang ca asambhadang avirang asapantang tittang carang nisinno vasayano yavatasya vigadamindo etang sating aditteya brahmametang viharang idamaho ditting ca anupagamma sila dasanina sampanno kamesu vinaya gedang nai jatu kampaseyang punareti etena sanca vajjena santite hotu sambeda etena sanca vajjena sambarogo vinassatu etena sanca vajjena hotu te jaya mangalang Sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavattvantarayo sukhi dīghāyuko bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada santi bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalam rakkantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada santi bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalam rakkantu sabba devata sabba sanghan bhavena sada santi bhavantu te. Let us spend a moment of reflection. Recall to your mind whatever kind deed that you were able to do during last few days. Think about your past few days and remember a moment that you were able to be kind to someone, giving something to someone, or sharing your knowledge with someone, or just giving your time or attention to someone. Just think about an actual incident in which you were able to be kind. Let us rejoice these moments of kindness. On this day, or in the past, if I have done kind deeds to other beings with my body, speech, or mind, whether great or little, here before the Buddha, I call to mind those kind deeds and let my heart rejoice. I rejoice in those kind deeds, appreciating the opportunity to be helpful to others. I rejoice in those kind deeds, wishing more opportunities to practice compassion. I rejoice in those kind deeds, resolving not to compare myself with others. I rejoice in those kind deeds, and glad to share this joy with all beings everywhere. May my kind deeds relieve the burdens of other beings. May my kind deeds shield me from all dangers and pain. May my kind deeds and merits that come from them help me in free my heart. Let us now recall to our mind whatever help or kindness we receive from others. Think about a recent incident in which someone showed their kindness or care to you. Someone helped you. Or you saw or heard about a kindness of someone doing some good to someone else. Let us rejoice the good deeds of others. On this day, or in the past, if I have seen or heard of the kind deeds done by others, with their body, speech, or mind, whether great or little, here before the Buddha, I call to mind those kind deeds, and let my heart rejoice. I rejoice in the goodness of others, being always ready to praise kind people and follow their example. I rejoice in the goodness of others, appreciating that there are many good-hearted people in the world. I rejoice in the goodness of others, expressing gratitude for any kindness done. May the kind deeds of others
May the kind deeds of others
bring safety and happiness to many living beings.
bring safety and happiness to many living beings.
May the kind deeds of others
May the kind deeds of others
foster gratitude and fellowship among many living beings.
foster gratitude and fellowship among many living beings.
May the kind deeds of others
May the kind deeds of others
nurture goodness in me
nurture goodness
and many living beings.
and many living beings.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you everyone for being here with us tonight. And today, when you go out, you will see beautiful lanterns hanging over there. And Bante Kamalasiri and many volunteers work so many weeks to prepare these lanterns. So outside you will see lighted lanterns. So please enjoy them, right, Bante?
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah, be happy. He wants all of you to be happy. And because Vesak is the season that we become happy. We celebrate the possibility of enlightenment and Buddha's enlightenment. So you can be happy. And this Sunday, there's an interesting ceremony happening in the afternoon from 3 to 5. All the different Buddhist organization in the area. We have about 8 to 10, different Buddhist organization following Zen tradition, Tibetan tradition, Thai tradition. All these Buddhist groups will get together and have a 2-hour ceremony. They used to do it in downtown, but this time they're all going to come here and have a nice ceremony here to celebrate the Vesak Day, enlightenment, and a day of the Buddha. So there'll be like bathing of the baby Buddha, and then the chanting and presentation for different Buddhist groups, represent different traditions. But key thing will be meditation, and we are doing a very communal meditation for world peace. We are going to focus on a water ball right in the middle, and then after all of us meditated, and we are going to carry that water into this creek. Of course, we used to go and do it at the point, to Allegheny River, but we will do it in this creek. So we release that water to the creek, and wishing our intention to travel through the creek to Allegheny River, to Ohio River, to Mississippi River, to the ocean, and to throughout the world. So please come and join if you come in. There's a poster there, and you can see the details there. So that is on this Sunday. There's another event going to happen in June 18th. There'll be a Sri Lankan food festival. There are no Sri Lankan food available here, so that will be a Sri Lankan food festival. We used to have it a few times. It's well received, and so we are going to do it again as raising funds for our development of this place. We need a lot of renovations to do. So that will be on 18th June. Yeah, 18th June. You will receive emails on that, yeah. And so those who like to help, and thank you, Kobe, for signing up. So this Saturday afternoon, we are putting up tents and flags and decorating the place at 5 o'clock, after 4 at 5 o'clock. So this Saturday, so if you are free, please come and help. And if you're also willing to volunteer during the ceremony, you can also volunteer being an usher or being a traffic sergeant. Sergeant, traffic navigator, navigating the traffic and helping us. Yeah, please consider that too. Yeah, okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all who joined over YouTube, and we really appreciate you being here, and wish you all the best, and have a peaceful night, and look forward to see you next time.
Also, if you're new and you want to be on the mailing list,